Okay, I think we are going live now. So, earlier, just a quick check if my audio is clear
It
and
is.
loud enough. Awesome. Okay, with this check, I'm welcome. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening. I'm Sunil Kumar Das, welcoming you all to the Sunil Show. On this episode of podcast, we dive into the exciting world of IT and project management, from discussing project management, product development, business analysis, to exploring all the latest technologies and trending technologies that we cover it all. Whether you are a seasoned professional or starting out your career in tech industry, this podcast is your go-to resource for practical insights, expert tips, and engaging discussions. Subscribe us on our YouTube channel and join us on Sunil Show for valuable knowledge and inspiration to propel your career forward. Today, I'm much excited to welcome our guest, Atulia. Atulia, it's a great pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So, before we dive into our topic, could you please share something about yourself, a bit about yourself, your background, your journey into the IT and the project management to our audience?
Yes, of course. So I'm Attila Engert. Originally, I'm Hungarian. But I live with my family in the Netherlands since now more than 4 years. I'm a father of a beautiful daughter and a husband of a similarly or even more beautiful wife. So that's the first priority, as it is always. And besides that, as you've said, I'm a senior project manager now at a biotechnology company. So it's not that straightforward IT as you've discussed, but I have to run projects which are IT related. I think this is like there's no project managers out there who can avoid in today's world to run IT projects as well. So I have the experience in there. I've been project manager in since almost a decade in multiple various industries. So I've started my project management journey at Procter and Gamble, which is fast-moving consumer goods. Then I've had a bit of a detour, which I enjoyed a lot in the aviation industry as well as a program manager, and then ended up at my current job in the biotech industry, which is my original educational background as well. I'm a biochemical engineer by faculty. I have a
Okay.
PMP certification since now 5 years, more or less. I'm not counting it that much, to be honest, anymore. Um, and yeah, probably that's it. My role is a global role, so I lead projects across business units and sites across the globe, complex strategic ones. So the portfolio is very wide, really,
Oh,
multiple different kind of projects.
that's fascinating. So, when we're talking about the project management, why don't we start our discussion with simple definition that we always discuss? What exactly project management is all about, and what it is and what it is not. So, what's your thought on this one? How would you describe it?
Yeah, that's a good question. For me, project management is delivering something new and unique to a customer,
Correct.
and that customer can be internal, can be external. That doesn't really matter. It depends on, of course, which kind of position you held and for what you are exposed to. That's one part. The other part is really it has to be unique and something new. Otherwise, it's
Correct.
it's not really it's not really a project. So that's very important to distinguish and draw a line between business as usual and projects. Otherwise, actually, you can end up with infinite projects, which you won't be able to finish because you just simply cannot hand it over to anyone or cannot transition it, and you're just in it forever. So then that's not a project anymore. Let's be honest. Let's face it. That's not
Correct.
what we do.
Exactly. So anything that we are working on a uniqueness, and we have certain temporary deadlines to it. That's how we create unique features or unique products, services, or processes. That's we say the project is there. So now, when you are defining project management, what sort of guidance you would give to the entry level project managers out there, or somebody who is transitioning from his or her career from software development or some other background to project management, what are the first thing? What is the first thing that they need to do?
Yeah, I think the first thing to understand for everyone is that all of us has done project management for some degree. Usually we didn't call it like that, but at some degree you know that it's either you've been part of a project or you've done a project at home, you've done a project for your kid, you've done a project in school, at the university, your thesis, anything. These are really projects. Well, have you done it in the formal structured way of project management? Probably not. There are also many different ways and structures how you could do it. That's another story as well. But you've done it, so you shouldn't be afraid of. So you have some experience. That's the first. But the another thing is that you need to invest as well in learning the job and learning this profession as well. Some
Correct.
of us has some instincts, of course, for different areas. Um, I like to go by the PMI terms. 'Cause that's I have a PMP certification, and that's what I'm most comfortable with as well. So in from the 10 knowledge areas, there will be some in which you are just good by itself.
Correct.
It still doesn't mean that you cannot improve, but you will be good. If you are more of an extrovert person, you are good in networking, then you will be good in communication management. You will be good in stakeholder management from the beginning. But
Correct.
probably you won't be that good in risk management or schedule management at the beginning, because that's not something you know. If you're more of an analytical person, a bit more introvert, probably then you will be better in risk management or procurement management or quality management, and probably you need to work more on the communication, stakeholder, resource management part. So the different knowledge areas requiring different set of skills. What you need to focus on, of course, those first are the transferable skills, because that's what you already have. You can start there, and then you have to invest and learn the rest.
That's so interesting and very insightful information you have given. Now, when we are working on this, so changing a career is certainly a project. So that's what I know. Recently, we have met one of the brilliant guests, Sky, and we delved into this topic. However, when we are treating this as a project, so what is your recommendation? What are the considerations that we should do while changing our career to project management, and what tips you would like to give? Like, first thing, we need to understand the purpose. Second, what interests you have. Let's say you would like to go into IT or healthcare or construction, that identifying the industry. Second important thing is identifying your skills which you can transfer, or the things which are transferable, right? These are different things we have. So what would be your tips?
Well, my first and probably most important tip is that you should be a people person. So you can read it a lot recently, that PM not just stands for project management. It's also like people management, process management, all the different things that you could list. But really, the main essence of this profession is that you work with people, and a lot of different people. Every project has a different team. Those teams has different the people working on it with different styles, with different hunger, with different amount of time, background. You need to like it, otherwise it won't work. You cannot do project management in front of the computer without talking to anyone. So that's probably the first and most important advice what I can give. If you don't like to work with people, then don't consider to pivot into project management.
No,
If you like
that's
it,
much true. Yeah.
yep. If you like it, then it can be a good profession for you. Uh, as I've said, I would first focus on the transferable skills and the interpersonal skills and power skills. Those will be the most important. And if you end up not liking this profession, well, by name they are transferable skills, so they will be useful in other career paths as well. So that's where I would start. I wouldn't go for certifications immediately. I mean, I know that there are a couple of certifications out there which are specifically for people who are pivoting into the career. I don't know those. I'll be honest. So you can go there. You will find better resources for preparing any kind of certification than me. That's not my specialty. That wouldn't be the first what I would do. Let's try to get some experience. And even when you are already considering to go into the field of project management or changing careers into project management, let's try to take some small projects, some small initiatives within your company. I'm more than sure there will be possibility. I'm more than sure everyone will be happy that you are eager to do that. Let's start there and see how that works. And if you like it, then just continue. Take on more responsibilities, bigger projects, and well, if somehow the career change is not possible within your company, then of course you can still consider to change. But by that time you will have some experience, so then you can also start to think about now certifications as well.
Great, that's insightful. So when we talk about you know changing the career to project management, understanding your purpose, and there are a lot of other things before getting into or stepping into certifications. So I would like to highlight here is under focus on soft skills, because once you prepare your mind, okay, I'll be moving to project management, then at least try to have one-on-one conversation with your project manager or somebody who is working in the industry, right, from your network. Otherwise, LinkedIn is one of the best platforms that we have. We can build network, reach out to somebody and start discussion. Once we start building that connection and we start discussing, we'll get to know, okay, these are the different technical skills that we need. These are the skills from the documentation side we need. These are the skills or the tools that I need to learn. There are all those things. Once we start working on this, at the end, I would like to place, okay, now it's time for certification. Either you can start with some of the basic certifications we have, which equipped with the basic stuff that you need to learn at the beginning stage, and slowly you can start from there. But yeah, certainly starting from the soft skills part and understanding what are the different things I need to learn, that would really help. That's great point here. Now, let's move something towards I don't know, focus our discussion towards the certifications, as we already started discussing it. So PMP certification is one of the most popular and valuable certification there out in the market. So when we talk about PMP, now what's your thought? Because it takes a lot of time, dedication to prepare, and you pass your examination, right? So what strategy you had for yourself? What was your study plan? How did you prepare for it?
Yes, so that's a really good question. I have actually mixed thoughts about it. I like the fact that I have a PMP certification. I like the fact that you need to renew your
Correct.
certification. So that's a good thing. And then you need to improve. You need to work in the field. That's good. I also like the fact that you need experience to be able to get the certification. So it's not just you go there, you study, and then you do it first, second, third time, doesn't matter. So that's also nice. It's I remember I've been a bit afraid at the beginning because it seems huge. So let's be honest. I mean,
Right.
it's a big hard book, first of all. Second of all, it's a 4-hour exam. So that's
Correct.
that's considered long, even with the hardest subjects in the university as well, the most difficult ones. So I considered to having PMP when I joined my current company, and then it was also discussed and it was standard within the group that we have it. So I've applied and I've been supported by the company. So I went to a boot camp at the beginning, just getting familiar with the concept, and then besides reading part of the book, I haven't read the whole. I'll be honest. I was watching a couple of YouTube videos, mainly the ones which has been highlighting the connections between all different areas. If I would have the network at that moment what I have now, then I would do some things differently, of course. So I would reach out to some people first who are in my network at the moment and specialized in these certifications. And then mainly I've been doing mock exams. But I know my strength. I have an extremely good short memory. So I know that's the best way for me to learn for the exam. But regardless, the exam was much harder than the mock exams. So I've been completing the mock exams like 2.5 hours more or less, and I almost used all 4 hours for the exam. So it's like long questions, tricky answers. You need to read multiple times, and it's not that straightforward as it seems like. So
Correct.
I think it has value. I think it has more value if you are looking for a job, or if you are looking to change companies, actually. So it's not even just change within the company, but change companies, or going into the project management from some other field. Then it has a huge value that I had to admit. In the everydays of the project management, it's a great guidance and the great guideline. It's good to have it. It's good to have access to the resources from the PMI. But I mean, some of the things are just not working that way as it is in the books. And since it's not quality regulations, you also don't have to do everything by the book till the last letter.
Correct. Yeah.
It also doesn't even make sense for some projects to really do everything by the book. You can do that, but then you are managing one project maximum if you really do everything. And also you probably put a lot of administration to the organization as well, which they don't want to have. So you need to be smart.
Right. So that's where the hybrid approach comes in. Being a human, you need to understand that what are the different unique challenges we're gonna face or we are facing in the project, and what level of scrutiny or governance we would require. So based upon that, wisdom, you can go ahead and plan. Okay, this is the particular approach that I may work on. Let's say waterfall or agile or hybrid or mixed one, and what set of documentation you would like to go ahead with. Right. That's true actually. Now, before appearing, PMP certifications, after. So, what changes you notice in terms of your skills and in terms of the recognition and the industry wide?
What I would say is the biggest change was a bit more structure. So by the time it's not by the time I completed the exam, actually, it's by the time I attended the boot camp and the course and know the content, I started to change some structures and put some structures in place which wasn't there before. I started to consider some aspects which I was not using that much before. And that also, it was partially because of the certification and the preparation, and partially because of the natural career path in project management, I think, as well. Because I know we'll touch base on this one this topic as well later on in this discussion. But as you start with project management as a junior project manager, with smaller projects, and then you go to project management, senior project manager, and even higher, you have more and more difficult projects which
Good.
has much more stakeholders, much higher budget, and you just have to use more and more knowledge areas, and you just have to have more structure, because for small projects, you can keep a couple of things in your mind as well. You don't have to write it down. You don't have to have a formal plan for it. You just do it. But as it gets bigger and
Correct.
more difficult and more complex, you really start to develop the skills for knowledge areas which you haven't even used before. So that's also a bit of a natural evolvement, but definitely the preparation for the PMP certification that was helping me realizing the value, of course, in some knowledge areas which I was not using that much, and also putting some structure behind.
So that's great. So it's one of the important thing you have mentioned here when we are working on small project and the level of knowledge, skills, or the knowledge areas we are utilizing, and you climb up the ladder as a project manager to senior project manager to program manager. Certainly, the complexity is higher, and that's when you need to realize what sort of knowledge areas you need to implement, and the whole structure will change, and that's when you need to upskill yourself as well. You need to work on more documentation. You need to involve with more stakeholders, number of stakeholders, and regular meetings and everything. That's when your horizon also broaden enough. You know, that's a good one. So when we're talking about complex projects, right? So when we say complex, do you think it's because of the budget, or because of the unique requirements, or because of the high value or the cost involved here, right? So, what exactly defines a complex project according to you?
Uh, but that's a great question, and actually, I wouldn't say that it's on the value or on the cost. I mean, you can have a project where you need to buy one equipment which is extremely expensive and you need to implement it. That won't make it complex. So that's that's not the case. Of course, if you need to manage the cost a bit more, that can make the project more complex, but just that itself doesn't. I think it gets extremely complex when more and more stakeholders are involved. Uh, those stakeholders are not that aligned on priorities and goals. You start to have stakeholders and groups which are not really in favor of the project, while others are pushing it. These things can make the project complex, and the another one is time and the number of deliverables what you have to uh, like hand over at the end. So if it takes long, I mean the project, let's say the schedule is 1.5 2 years, you have 40 50 deliverables, 10 different work streams, 100 people working on the project, 30 plus stakeholders, competing priorities. That's a difficult one, and because there you really need to use all the knowledge areas. You really need to have a formal plan for everything, otherwise it will slip through your hand and you will just start to see issues.
Correct. No, that's good enough. Again, when we are talking about the stakeholder management, the complex project, that's there. You will see a lot of stakeholder engagement. From different, I would say, skills, right? Somebody maybe from finance background, somebody from operations, somebody from whole business, right? So when we are dealing with these stakeholders, you as a project manager, you are not the subject matter expert, right? Probably it's the first time. So when being an entry-level project manager, somebody is new to the stakeholder management, what sort of tips you would like to give to them, that how stakeholder management should be, and what approaches you should use to make them happy or the stakeholder satisfaction?
Yeah, that's a good question. The First of all, what I would probably want to highlight is your role is not to make everyone happy, and that applies to the stakeholders as well. I mean, we can like it or not, but but you won't be able to make everyone happy. Your goal is to deliver the project in the highest quality so that it delivers the benefits what it should bring as well. And if it involves stakeholder management, and if it involves some parts of the organization which won't benefit that much from the project, or they'll have more work, you can still do a proper stakeholder management. It probably still won't make those stakeholders happy, but what you can highlight always is the complex benefit of the project. So why we are doing this? You need to communicate a lot. So that's regardless of stakeholder management, for all the knowledge areas, for all project management, communication, in my opinion, is the most important
Crucial.
skills
Yeah.
what you should have. And it's extremely important in stakeholder management as well. So the first tip from me is that start from the beginning. So first of all, stakeholder management starts at the project initiation, where you identify every stakeholder, you talk with them, you collect the requirements, and you already start to set the stage there, because you know what the project is about. You know the boundaries of the project as well. The boundaries are usually money wise and human resource wise, what is available. But regardless, you need to collect all those requirements, talk with all these people, and see how it would be the best for them. That's how you start. There you build genuine connections. There you build some trust already, and you have something to begin with. Then, of course, in scope management, based on the available resources, couple of things will go out of scope, and this is also what you want, because you just won't have time and money for everything. And then that's also something that you can and should openly communicate, that this project is, the purpose of this project is this one, the budget is X, the available resources is for 1 year, and these resource groups, this is what we can do. And these are the out of scope items. If we want to see anything from the out of scope in the scope, then we need either more budget or more resources, but by itself it won't happen. And still you will have someone who won't like that. But if you think about like the steering committee, for example, at the end they are reasonable, they see the big picture, and if you consistently deliver the updates and a good project, then actually just in a neutral path, they will be at least not opposing at the end.
Correct. Yeah.
But you need
And
to
what?
manage them a lot. So you need to communicate throughout the project, and you need to use your sponsor as well for stakeholder management. That's another advice what I can give. First of all, have a sponsor for all of your projects, and then utilize the sponsor, especially in stakeholder management, because they can help a lot there.
No, that's true. And for different environment, let's say somebody is working on Prince2, the level of communication or the quality checks we put in place will slightly differ for people who are using PMP knowledge areas or the methodologies, right? So once again, just to come back and I have one question here. Before starting a project, you as a project manager, you need to realize the benefits, you know, to understand what benefit or what outcome we will produce, right? And once you understand the end objective, that's when you will be able to clearly communicate with the customers. Similarly, you will be able to communicate with the resources, right? So you have to pass on the objective with them. Now this is one of the biggest tasks during the initiation phase for a project manager, right? So you understand everything. Now what sort of tips you would like to give, what strategies people should follow, those who are newly working as a project manager, so that they never miss the objective or misunderstood the objective, because that's very important at the beginning stage.
Mhm. Well, the discussion should start with the sponsor and with the person who from whom the idea is coming for this project. Now this
Correct.
can be the same in some cases. It can be the same, but if not, then you need to discuss with both of them. So first of all, understanding why the idea is, from where the idea is coming from. This is like already starting to put together your charter, because the idea is coming because there is a problem. So then you start to understand what's the problem and what's the solution, what they're trying to achieve. And then you get to you anyhow you get to know your sponsor. You have to know also why he or she become the sponsor. If the idea is coming from elsewhere, then specifically you should figure it out, because you have to have the best sponsor possible, because that can be a huge help throughout the project, and it can be also a huge bottleneck if you don't have the right sponsor or you don't have a sponsor. So that's the two points where I would start. And and then you can, this is the 2% with whom you start to work on the cost benefit analysis as well. So from where the idea is coming, then there you have a problem, and that problem is related to a KPI, to any parameter, to any process, and that's what you need to improve. And I think it's I think it's also like worth to highlight that in multiple cases, in my experience, you are already getting the project with multiple information what you've just said. So not all the time a project manager should do a business case, and it's unfortunately not all the time you have a business case. Sometimes, especially from top-down projects, you just got it and just do it, manage the project. So there you also need to do your due diligence, because you also need to go back to everyone who was involved at the beginning to create either the business case or the charter, or get the project to the current state, to figure out what was going on.
Correct. Yeah. So one another thing I'd like to understand, now you have almost decade of experience into project management, right? You have seen a lot of projects, starting from, as you mentioned, small, medium, and large scale projects as well, and from across the industry, right? So over the decade of experience what you have, so how project management has evolved, right? How it was initially and what trends we have now, and what sort of tips you would like to give to the new project managers so that they must be careful about those or they learn those new trends. So, what's your journey in this one?
Well, I think the most evolution happened in regards of available tools and help. So
Correct. That's one point. Yeah.
we we have we have great project management tools since long, like Microsoft Project, but now you have a lot of other softwares, dashboards, even AI at the moment, and there are some emerging trends with virtual and augmented reality as well, for the teams across the globe. So it's a lot of help if you can use it. So
Correct.
I think it's important to get yourself updated with all of these. You don't have to use everything, so you can choose and pick, but you should not ignore that things are evolving. So you cannot say that, okay, I don't care about AI. Yes, and then you won't be competitive in couple of years, and just that's just it, because everyone who will use these new tools, they will be much more efficient. And I think that's the key word here, is that you need to be picky and careful and use what makes you more effective. And all these tools and technologies are helping the administrative part. So I think with the power skills, the communication, the leadership, which are more related to the project integration, scope, resource, communication, and stakeholder management. You have some tools, you can use some help, but at the end, many things on those areas should be personalized, and that will be the last thing what AI or any other technology will replace, your power skills and your transferable skills. So that's what I'm focusing on. I'm also exploring multiple opportunities, especially with AI and following the trends and try to use them. Like, of course, you can like record the meeting, and if you can prompt or improve your prompt for the AI, that it can take your minutes already and send it out, follow up on action items and all that stuff. So it's good for many different things, but still, as I've said at the beginning, this profession is people focused, and you always have the people who don't care about emails and messages. They just pick up the phone if you call them, and if you don't take the time to get to know their preferences and how they like to work, these technologies won't help just because they are here and they are getting better and better.
Okay. That's true. That's true. So I would say one thing must is you must go with the trend. You cannot, kind of ignore the new advancements, right? The way technology is evolving, you must learn those and be along with it. Otherwise, you'll be left behind because we are growing very, very fast speed. You know. So when we talk about the organizational structures, according to the organizational structure, we may have different roles and responsibility, different type of roles and responsibility in project management. So what are the different roles available within project management, and how can individuals specialize or transition between one role to another? So what would be your suggestion? How, what are the different roles you can suggest, and how can they do that?
Mhm. Well, it's of course depends on again two different things. If you want to go up on the career ladder, or you want to go sideways and try different path, because there are extremely specific areas in project management, like I'd say like construction management, or even IT. I would consider it software development as a specific area. Project management, you can always have, I would say, like general project managers who are not SMEs. So you just cannot take over part of the project. You really managing the project. You have you can be a technical project manager if you also want to do a couple of things for your project and want to be more involved as well. It's also one part. If you like more the stakeholder management and people part even more, than there is the program management part. I mean, I'm using the terminology for what I'm used to. So for like the project manager and technical project manager, let's use the terms like those are for internal projects within an organization. And then if you are managing a program or an account, or it can be called anyhow, where you are managing clients as well. So there
Correct.
your stakeholders are not just internal but external too. So that
Excellent.
the
Yeah.
product managers can be also in this list. And I think almost everything what I've said up to now, it's more or less in one level, but with different specialties and different aspects, where in some you need to really be on the field, like in the construction project management, while others you can do from behind a computer. The another aspect is that you start to climb the ladder, so that when you go to senior project manager or staff project manager or director, first of all, if you do that, the first thing what you need to accept is that you will be further and further and far away from projects as you go higher, because that won't be your
Correct.
role anymore. So in general, again, I would say there could be exceptions, but as a senior project manager, you start to be you're starting to be exposed to mentoring others, coaching others, training others, standardizations, even even you can start to be involved in interviewing and discussing strategies. That's like in senior level, but you are still managing projects, more complex projects most probably, and less projects, but you are still managing. And then you go one level up. There you will have probably direct reports. Then it's people management. Now half of the time goes for that. You will have probably one or two projects still to manage, but it's more coaching, mentoring, training, setting up standards, and and managing people. And then you go one level up, and it's all about strategy. And then it's all about strategy and financials. So that's why also, like, if you go up the ladder, then eventually there are no project or program or portfolio management vice presidents. Those are already initiatives. That's how they call more, and it's more and more focused on the financial aspect, and less close to the ground with the projects. So it depends on your hunger. It depends on what you like. These are the paths that I've seen. And then of course you can go sideways and find the best which fits you, and then you can start to go upwards. Upwards will look more or less the same eventually.
Correct. Yeah. Now, one thing about I would like to emphasize on network building. You know, after COVID, everything we rely on remote work. What would be your tips on how building network or connections would help you in terms of growing in your career in project management specifically?
First of all, find the right people. That's how I started my journey as well. I mean, I've been in project management already, but when I started to uh, get in touch with people on LinkedIn, first of all, I needed to find the project management community. Wait, it's not that straightforward as you would think. So if you find a couple of people, then it's getting easier. But you need to find those first couple of more influential project managers who are already out there and have the network, and then you can start to build from there. For professional network, I would wholeheartedly suggest LinkedIn. We have an extremely great project management community there with a lot of people specialized in different areas. I've seen also that many of those people have been or will come to your show as well. So you can find resources for pivoting into the project management career, just improving your project management skills, just developing in your career. You can find PMO leaders, you can find people who help in certifications. So really the network is great. And if you follow the right people, then with all the newsletters and the feed, you can also in one place, you can keep yourself updated as well with all the trends and everything which is happening in the project management field. So that's one path for networking. The another one is and especially if eventually you are aiming for a certifications and you are aiming it from PMI, then it worth to join a PMI chapter. So that's also one good place to meet with project managers. You can do volunteer work. You can allocate as much time as you wish. There are events where you can meet also other project managers. So that's also a great place to increase your network. But regardless of which you choose, you have to be there. You consistently have to show up. You have to be open and reach out to people and talk with them. Get those 5-10 minutes, like we call, well, everyone calls them coffee chats recently, and just reach out. Everyone will be happy to get to know you, to talk with you, to give you some advice.
That's fantastic. And one other thing is, never hesitate to ask for help. Ask help. You know, people out there, those who are very open-minded, and certainly when you explain your problem, you may need to reach out to multiple people, but definitely you'll get some solutions out there. And that's one of the best way to build your rapport and network, as well as this uh, one particular thing, that building network certainly will help you in some of the negative situations like we are encountering now a lot of layoffs. So, given this situation, one thing could help us is nothing but our network. How strong our network relationship is.
Look, I completely agree, and also for everyone who is listening or who will listen, regardless of how many followers someone has on LinkedIn or how professional that person look like every one of us are having issues and problems and negative situations all the time. I mean, that's life. So it's not that just because I don't know, I'm posting on LinkedIn 2-3 times a week, then I'm doing everything perfectly. No, not. I've done my own mistakes. I'm learning from them. I try to help for you so you don't do the same mistakes. If you do that, then you'll learn from your own mistakes as well. And every one of us is trying to do this from different angles. So don't hesitate to reach out for help. And you can do it within your organization. You can. I'm more than sure that anytime you can reach out for your manager or a more senior project manager for some mentoring and coaching within the organization. But also you feel free to reach out to anyone outside of your organization, because one another thing that I realized throughout my career is that every organization has its limitations, and even if the people who are working there, they are great, the organization has its boundaries, and it's just somehow forces people into those boundaries as well, and it's not that easy to think outside of the box. But if you find someone for mentoring and coaching, for example, who is like really not in your organization, not even in that industry, then you can get probably some better questions and better solutions. So always
That's great. Yeah.
be strong
Ask for
and
help.
reach out for help.
I personally believe on this one. Yeah, that's a great one. So again, when we talk about emotional intelligence and leadership, one thing comes to my mind is always we must be very empathetic towards people. And as you mentioned, we as a project manager must be people oriented, you know, people person. So that's when we'll be able to build our relationships and be empathetic and work with people or within a team, right? So one question is, how can we build that mindset to become a people person? First of all, it's very important because based upon our personal traits, somebody is extrovert, somebody is introvert, right? So according to our personality, how can mold ourselves to become a people person? What steps you would suggest?
But you need to start to take on habits which which involve others, so that you are basically forced into situations where you need to talk with other people, because that's where it all starts. And emotional intelligence, for me, it it means that you try to understand really what's going on with the another person. And in project management, it really comes into play when when you start to dig around an issue, or you are working on an escalation. And it's extremely important to not jump over anyone. First of all,
Okay.
it's destroying trust immediately, and engagement and everything. Second of all, you are missing a lot of information. It it's immediately, it looks like pointing fingers. So that's like, that's just generally wrong, and you haven't even tried to understand what's the situation with with that person who supposed to do some actions. you don't know what's going on with his or her personal life. You don't know what's going on with the other responsibilities. How many projects are the person working on? Just what is the degree of the business as usual activities what that person needs to accomplish. That's the first thing what you have to do, sit down and understand, and you need to go there with the willingness to listen, and not with the willingness to ask, or the willingness to figure out anything, or bias and preconceptions. It's not easy, and of course you will have some, but you really have to sit there and listen to that another person, and then also believe me, the chances are much higher that you'll find some solution. And even if you don't find a solution, and then you go to the next step, to the manager, and then to the sponsor, and then to the steering committee, if you really do your due diligence and you do all the steps,
Correct.
then you keep trust, you keep engagement, and in the meantime you solve the issue as well. But first is willingness. So if you want to improve in emotional intelligence, you can start to watch some trainings and videos, but go and talk with people. That's the first. And talk with them and be interested, genuinely interested, and listen to them, and try to understand their situation. That's how you can improve.
That's great. Okay, so with this, I think we are approaching the time now. So, ladies and gentlemen, we always discuss about what are the best tips, strategies, trends in the market about project management. And now today also we discuss a lot of things about project management, careers, certifications, new trends about AI. Now it's time to move ahead with something different to understand more about little bit different things about Atlia, our guest. So first thing I'd like to understand is what's your hobby? What's interests you? You have picked up recently that brings you joy outside of your work. One thing that you have made your hobby.
Okay. Well, I'll be honest, I don't really have something which I picked up recently. Well, I have a couple of hobbies, but those are there since long. So first of all, I'm a huge sport fan. So I'm playing squash now since 15, 16 years, I guess, in semi competition level. So that's something that I really enjoy. The another one is board games. So get together with my friends and play some board games with the least luck possible. So the more the strategic ones, 2-3 hours, then we just sit down and play sometimes for days. So that's what I also like and enjoy a lot. And then these are personal hobbies, and of course I love to spend time with the family. It's always great to
That's great.
go and travel when possible. But my two biggest hobbies are board games and sports.
That's great. So, what's one of the adventurous things you have done ever, and would you do it again?
What is the? Can you repeat, please?
Adventurous things.
Adventurous. Well, I've done bungee jumping 2 or 3 times
Uh,
already. I would do that again. So that was probably the most adventurous, I'd say.
so, what was your experience? When you did it for the first time.
Well, it's scary, of course. I mean, you are standing up high, and then they cannot throw you, so you need to jump by yourself, otherwise they take you down. So that's it. So that's the hardest part. Once you do that, of course it's interesting to see the concrete coming closer and closer, but that's already like a lot of adrenaline. I liked it.
Awesome. So, are you a bookie? Like you would like to read books or watch visual presentation or videos or podcasts? So, which interests you a lot? Reading books or
I yeah
listening to
I
podcasts?
read books. I have some ups and downs, of course, that how much, but I read. I like to read and I like to mix the personal development and also the entertainment books. So just to not get too much from each. That's
So
one
could you
part, and
suggest
also
some resources?
some
Yeah, could you
resources.
suggest some books? Yeah, some resources or books that to our audience.
um, yeah, I could, like the 7 habits of highly effective leaders. That's a book I liked. Um, then the 5 dysfunctions of a team. That's also a great book which I read. Positive intelligence. That's one of the recent books I've read, which is also great, overcoming some saboteurs. So that's a nice book. Never Split the Difference. That's a great book for negotiation techniques. If you want to learn about those,
That's
just
great.
some.
Those are the great books I heard, but I never opened those books as of now. But yeah, certainly I'll take some time to go through this. So, other thing is, what's a place you have visited that left a lasting impression on you, and what made it special?
Place. Hmm. The Probably there have been two. One was in Canada, British Columbia, and the another one is Lisbon in Portugal. Uh, British Columbia is just the nature. I could say actually Switzerland as well if I want to draw some equal lines in Europe for the same. So those are two great spots if you like nature, if you like hiking. It's just amazing, really, every square meter with the animals, with the nature, with all what they preserve in British Columbia with the glaciers as well. So that's just I would recommend for everyone who could do that to go there once. And Lisbon is probably one of the most beautiful city I've seen. It was extremely livable, so we could go back there anytime.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, what piece of advice you would give to your younger self now?
Yeah, in general,
Yeah,
the most important advice that I would give in general to everyone who is listening is that build your network, be aware who is in your network. So that's also one of the best advices what I've heard is that you you are you will become the person with whom you spend the most time with as well. So surround yourself with 4, 5, 6 people and spend most of the time with them, and then make sure that those people are high value people, and then you'll be the same.
that's good. It's actually true. And also, I would say spend some time with you, probably at least 20 to 30 minutes in a day. That's when it's a great tool to kind of learn and realize your potential that you have within, and this will make you a real human. And what if when we sit for making or analyzing doing a SWOT analysis, analyzing our own strengths and weaknesses, sitting with yourself for 20 to 30 minutes in a day, that's really helpful, and it'll change your life, the perspective towards your life, and certainly it's very helpful. Yeah. Thanks for that, Atlia. It was really a great discussion, so fruitful. We covered everything, most of the things from project management and leadership, AI, certifications. Certainly, those who will be listening to this podcast later in my YouTube channel, those who are listening now, certainly they'll enjoy this. And thank you so much for your time. So, thanks everyone for watching us on this show. We'll meet in a new episode with a new guest soon.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much for the
Atlia. Talk to you later
opportunity,
again.
and thanks for
Bye now.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye now.